View of some basic summary statistics. Start with the mean. The mean has another name that's probably a lot more familiar to you. I'm not sure if you remember what it is. The mean is also called the average. To find the mean, or the average, the first step is to add up your list of numbers, and then divide that total that you got by however many pieces of data you have in your list. Let's look at an example. If you have test scores that were 67, 89, 80, and 72, the question is find the mean. What they're asking you for is to find your test score average. So the first step, as we said, was to add up all your scores and get a total, in this case 308. The second step says to take that total, there it is, 308, and divide by however many pieces of data you have. We had 4 test scores, so we're dividing by 4. And when we divide 308 by 4, which you can do in your calculator, you get 77. This means that your mean test score is 77, or your average. Make note that you may have to round your answer in step 2. It doesn't always come out exactly evenly. If it comes out to a decimal, that's okay. You should generally give at least 1 decimal place for accuracy. There is a symbol for mean, and you'll see it now. The symbol is called X bar. It's simply an X with a short bar over the top of it. The next summary statistic is median. Median is informally the center of the set of numbers. I say informally because technically we're not just saying, oh, look for the center, but really think about what a median is on the road. Isn't a median that raised section of the road that's in the middle of the road? It's the middle, or the center. And sometimes the median is referred to as Q2. Now this means quartile 2, and we'll go over that later in class today. To find the median, the first step is very important. You have to put the list of numbers in order from smallest to largest. If you don't do that, the center won't be accurate. The second step is simply to find the middle. Now, if there's an even number of pieces of data, you're going to have to average the 2 in the middle. You'll have to find the mean. Let's take a look at our example with the test scores. Our test scores were not in order, and so we have to put them in order as the first step, from the smallest, which was 67, up to the largest, which was 89. Once we do that, we want to find the middle. There are 4 pieces of data here. The middle falls right there. Well, if the middle isn't one number in the center of everything, notice there's 2 to the left and 2 to the right of my red line, then you have to average the 2 numbers on either side of your line. And so we take the average, or find the mean. 72 and 80, if you recall, to find the mean, you add them up, you get 152. You divide by 2 because there are 2 of them, and you get 76. Your mean is 7, which would actually be, I'm sorry, your median is 76. It's the mean of those 2 numbers, but the median of this set of test scores is 76. It is the number in the middle. The next one is called the mode. To find the mode, you just have to find the number that appears the most often. There can be no mode at all, and there can be more than one mode. So we're going to look at these examples together, because if there's no mode, and let's say we use our unit test scores of 67, 89, 80, and 72, there's no mode. Can you tell me why? There's no mode because no number appears more than once. Remember that the mode is the number that appears the most often. Well, these all appear an equal number of times. They each appear once, so there's no mode. The following is an example of having just one mode. If I've got a student named Robert, no one in particular, I made it up, whose test scores are the following, can you tell me what the mode is in this case? I hope you said 81. And 81 is the mode because it appears more often, twice in fact, than any other number in this set of data. Let's look at one more example, and in this case there's going to be more than one mode. So let's use an example of last week's daily high temperatures. And again, these are just made up, but if we look at this list, I notice that 88 appears twice, and I also see that 87 appears twice. Since they both appear twice, and nothing appears more than 2 times, because that would sort of beat that out, and then that would be the mode. The mode is both 88 and 87 because they both appear twice, and nothing appears more than twice. And nothing appears more than that. Whoops. This seems to happen to me sometimes. Okay, and nothing appears more than twice. The last one we're going to talk about right now, and you've heard of all of these before, and you've used them a little before, is the range. The range is a measure of variation, how much the set of numbers varies. And when you think about how much something varies, you're talking about the difference between the biggest and the smallest, and that is exactly what the range is. The first step, again, is to put the list of numbers in order from smallest to largest. So if you're ever in doubt as to whether you need to do that for a particular summary statistic, it could never hurt. So if you're not sure, do it anyway. Once we put them in order, step 2 to find the range is to take the largest number minus the smallest number, and that is the range. So it's just subtraction. You have your unit test scores, like the same ones we've been using. We put them in order. Smallest is 67, biggest is 89. You're never going to get a negative number. It's always bigger minus smaller. So the biggest number minus the smallest number. 89 minus 67 is 22, and our range is 22. You're going to do some practice with these basic summary statistics, and later in class we're going to learn some more that can help you make some graphical representations, some graphs of your data.